Hi everyone and welcome to Flipping Heck Business, Flip Learning for AQA A-Level Business Studies. So this is video number 6 in the Unit 4 Decision Making to Improve Operational Performance series. So today we're going to be looking at quality management. So contents are that what is meant by quality, why quality is increasingly important, the costs of poor quality, approaches to monitoring, assuring and improving quality, and business benefits of improving quality. So areas that this links to, so again, if you're doing any of your 16 mark AO4, 25 mark questions, in your analysis you want to be able to pull in other areas of the curriculum. So quality links to competitiveness, customer service, profitability, market positioning and supply chain as well. So quality itself, so what do we mean by quality? So it's a product or services of a good quality if it meets the needs and expectations of the customer. Right? So it's only good quality if it's actually hitting what people expect and what people want from the product itself. Now, who actually defines this? It is the customer that defines this ultimately. So quality is all about, like I said, meeting their needs and expectations. So customer needs might be that its performance is fit for purpose, so it does what it is meant to do. Its appearance is correct, it looks good. Quality is also about how available it is. So what kind of delivery schedule have you got? Is it next day? Is it going to take 5.5 weeks? Those kind of things people will check, because if you can get a product in a week as opposed to get it in 6 months, then you're going to go for that, aren't you? Its reliability, so how long it's going to last. And then finally, its price. Is it value for money? Are you overpaying? Are you underpaying? High expensive products, the more expensive it is, the better the quality, you would presume. So if a product or service meets all these needs, then it passes the quality test. If it doesn't, then it is substandard. So if it's not good quality, if it's not performing what it's meant to do, if it doesn't look good, if it's going to take ages to get, if its price isn't good enough, then it is substandard. So when we're looking at it, there are different ways that we can look at it. So we've got tangibility, tangible things. Is it reliable? Is it got all the features and functions that you want? Is there support levels? Is there standards around it? Is there any kind of cost of ownership? So these are all things that you can actually sort of feel and touch and fix. So does it need a lot of repairs? Or you've got intangible. So we've got things like brand image. What's it going to make you look like? Is it exclusive, or has everybody got it? Have they got a good market reputation? Are you getting it from an ethical source? So business benefits of greater quality is that you get better customer satisfaction, you get repeat purchase, which leads to customer recommendations, which leads to lower marketing costs, and then higher customer loyalty. Lower marketing costs because, of course, if you've got word of mouth, Apple, when it first came out doing iPhones and that, needed to put a lot more money in than really it does now, because a lot of people are already there. A lot of people are already buying it. And then higher customer loyalty, which then again leads to greater customer satisfaction, etc. So quality and competitiveness. So fewer businesses are just competing solely on price these days. People are actually after higher quality goods. So at a similar price, a higher quality product is likely to win. So you need to make sure that quality is there. So quality can help ensure a business to differentiate. It becomes its USP, if you like. Right? So things like Rolex, Waitrose is much higher quality than say Tesco or Sainsbury's. Hotel chocolate is chocolate, or however you pronounce it, I don't know, is going to be of a better quality than going to a pound store. Apple. I'm not an Apple fan personally, but their actual Airbooks and everything like that are very exceptionally well made, and you can see why people do go for them, because instead of it being all plastic, you've got this lovely sort of brushed steel appearance, etc., etc. So costs of poor quality. So many costs of poor quality, including lost customers. So it's expensive to replace, and they may not tell others about, and they may tell others about their experience as well. You can't just get people back easily. Cost of reworking and remaking a product, so you've got your research and development and everything there. Cost of replacements or refunds, if you have to anyone brings it back. You've got wasted materials in amongst all of that as well. So poor quality is a source of competitive disadvantage. If competitors are achieving high quality, then a lower quality business will suffer. So how might good or poor quality be measured? So we can look at things like customer service ratings. What do people think of it? How many products are being returned? Like what kind of warranties have we had as well? Right? Is there any kind of like rejected output from production? I mean, like actually when you're producing items, then are you Sorry, so again, you've got rejected output from production. So how many products are actually being wasted on the production line? Levels of repeat business. So are you getting customers back? Is there market surveys? Like what are your actual profit margins? Of course, will always be a measurement because if you're doing well, those profit margins should be quite high. So how does poor quality actually damage competitiveness? So you've got financial costs, so things like compensation. You've got lost customer loyalty. People, once they, most people will walk away from a product as opposed to like saying, well, here it is, this is why we didn't like it, this is why we're not coming back, and then giving you a chance to actually answer it. Which of course then leads to damaged business reputation. Those people who leave are likely to tell about 9 people that they didn't have a good time, or they didn't have good customer service, or that the product itself was rubbish. And then it means that you end up with greater need sort of controls and checks. So if you're having to do that, then that could be wasted time in getting the product out. It could be that you are adding to your profit margins. Well, taken away from profit margin, sorry. And then competitors then can just take advantage. I mean, like, again, Apple were the top of the game, and now they are no longer the sort of best-selling like smartphones because other companies come along, taking advantage of the fact that a lot of people were sick of Apple, and now Samsung and Huawei are at the top. So when we think about quality, we can think about like quality management itself. Now, with this, then we've got it's all about like achieving high quality. Now that does not happen just by accident. You've got to actually take control of it. So quality management is concerned with controlling activities with the aim of ensuring that the products and services are fit for purpose and meet the like specifications of what they are meant to do. Now there are 2 main approaches to this. We've got quality control and quality assurance. Now you need to be able to know the difference between quality control and quality assurance. So they are quality control means checking goods as you make them or when they arrive from the suppliers to see if anything is wrong. Now here it assumes that errors are unavoidable. It detects errors and puts them right, and then quality control inspectors check other people's work and are responsible for the quality. So in other words, you get a product in, and you go, right, okay, so or you make a product, then you get a quality inspector come along and they will pick them out and they'll go, right, okay, so they'll have a look at it and go, right, is there anything wrong with this? Is it working fine? Does everything about it work? Whereas the other side is quality assurance, which means introducing measures into the production process to try to ensure that things don't go wrong in the first place. So here it assumes that errors are avoidable, so you don't need to make errors. It prevents errors and aims to get it right the first time. So like it will actually, when you're doing quality assurance, then it means that you are continuously checking your own work. Instead of just producing and producing and producing, each employee is producing, checking, producing, checking, producing, checking. And workers then are responsible for passing on good quality work to the next stage of the production process. So if you've done your bit right, and you can say, right, well, I've done everything that I need to there, then you can pass it on knowing that there is no problem with the work that's being passed on. So quality control and overview. So it's kind of the traditional way of managing quality. It's concerned with just checking and reviewing output, mainly about detecting defective output rather than preventing it. So it doesn't come along and go, right, okay, so what can we do to make sure that it's fixed first so that it won't happen? It just goes, oh, right, well, there's a broken product. Let's get it out and changed. And then it can be very costly process. So it means checking checking goods as you actually go. So you've got to pay someone to be able to do that. And of course, if there's like a large number of items that are broken, then or like of poor quality, of substandard quality, then they need to be replaced. So quality control and inspection. So 3 main points in operations when inspection is used in quality control. So When raw materials are received, so prior to entering production, they will be checked and make sure that they are of a good quality. So that way then they're able to make sure that the materials are of a good standard so that you can make good quality products. Then you've got, whilst the products are going through the production process itself, so it may be that like you'll pick out individual stations and have a check of the quality there. And then finally, when the products are finished, so it takes place before the products are dispatched to customers, so there will be another check in quality. So you can see that the three main points where you check in quality can take time, it can take effort, and if you're not catching it early enough, then it could be that you're not actually going to produce a very good quality item in the long run. So the problems with it is that it is costly. Like often at the end of the production process, it could be too late. There could be inconsistent inspections as well if you've got someone who's very strict compared to someone who isn't. Often not compatible with modern production systems either. I mean, like you might not be able to actually get into the equipment, or you might not be able to shut it down. It's got to be something that is continuous. And then it's done by inspectors rather than the workers themselves. So it's like looking at someone who might be a specialist who would come along and look, as opposed to the workers who are actually producing the goods. And if you've got one worker who's actually producing something wrong and they didn't realize, then they'll keep producing it over and over and over again. Next, we've got quality assurance. So this is much more a modern approach. So under self-checking system. So in other words, each employee is like producing their work. They're getting it right the first time. They are responsible. There's no problem pieces of work. No poor pieces of work are passed on as if to someone else. So it is up to you to make sure that you are actually producing something and you're producing it well, and then it goes on to the next person. They are getting a well-produced quality piece of like unit or whatever it is you're doing. So it can be very motivating because you've got a lot more empowerment in your job, and it gives people like pride in their job as well. But you need to have a lot of training, so it needs to be initial training, and also it could be that you are retraining people further down the line, and then workers must be committed and motivated. The aim is ultimately to create zero defects, so you don't need an inspector. There will be no defects going through all the way. So if we compare the two, then quality assurance focuses on the processes, whereas quality control focuses on outputs. Quality assurance is achieved by improving production processes themselves, so it's improving those, whereas quality control would be sampling and then checking, so taking out, sampling, checking, and inspecting at all times. Then it's targeted to the organisation as a whole for quality assurance, like everybody's a part of it, whereas quality control is targeting just the production activities themselves. Then you've got quality assurance is emphasizes the customer much more, whereas quality control is just sort of looking at required standards as opposed to not thinking really about what the customer needs. It's just going, right, okay, so everything needs to match this. And then finally, quality assurance is built into the product itself, whereas quality control, just sort of defect products are inspected out, taken away, and then the products that are okay are just sent through. So next we've got TQM, which is an approach to quality assurance. So it's total quality management. It's a management philosophy, and it means that the whole workforce is committed to quality improvements. Everybody is actually involved here. So total quality management. Everyone cares. So it is essentially an attitude. It's how a company would want their workers to be. Every department focuses on quality in order to improve the overall quality of the products and services. So they just focus completely on making sure that what they're doing, their particular area, each department is getting it right first time. Every employee has to try and satisfy the customers and the co-workers as well, so they're not passing on anything of poor quality. Customers need to be happy with the products and services, so ultimately that is the goal, people being happy at the end. And co-workers though need to be happy with the work that you are actually passing to them. So if they get something in, they'll go, no, I'm not taking it, it's not good enough quality. So the advantages are that it puts the customer at the heart of the production process. Like, it's very motivational since workers are feeling more involved and there's a lot more team bonding. There's less wasteful than throwing away defective products, and it eliminates the cost of inspection. and then ultimately it increases the reputation for quality as well. Right, so these are all the advantages. Disadvantages, though, are that it does require strong leadership. Like, it might be missing in your business. It needs someone who is dedicated to total quality management as a whole business. There could be substantial investment in training, time, and support, but you might not get an immediate investment, you might not see the return on it straight away. Could become very bureaucratic as well. So like, people are concentrating so much on getting this quality right that actually it slows down everything else. Like, there might be a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out around it. It can become demotivational because it seems like a lot of effort to be constantly considering quality, to be constantly checking your own work, doing it over and over again. And then you might get disruption, and costs may outweigh the benefits. So if there is something that goes on, say there's a management change, or like some of the team leaders change, then it could actually slow everything down. Now, there are a couple of other ways that we can look at, like, sort of the whole sort of total quality management and quality areas as well. So we've got this one, which is the quality circles. So this is where you would have workers meet regularly to discuss any quality issues. So use knowledge of employees from various departments. So you pull people from various departments into one room and go, okay, so guys, what could we do to improve? What could happen here? And everybody will kind of get their say. So quality circles then aim to identify and solve specific quality problems that arise. So if there's a problem, say in finance, then they might be able to get some ideas from operations on how we can fix it. They're great ways to get all the staff involved, and can lead to an increase in motivation and productivity. However, some of the suggestions might be quite unrealistic. I mean, like, if they're looking for particular machines that are just out of budget, so they might not end up listening just to floor staff. I mean, like, and again, they might be going, well, I'm management, I'm the one who's in charge. It all depends then on what kind of leadership set they've got, what kind of leadership skills. If they're autocratic, this is not necessarily going to be the way that they would actually go with regards to their operations. And then the next one is Kaizen. Now, this you'll hear a few times. The Kaizen approach basically is a lean production method that means employees should be improving their work at all time instead of making one-off improvements. So think about the like lean production, one of our previous videos. Then Kaizen actually links to that. Now, with that, employees then are encouraged to question why a problem has occurred. So if something happens, they don't just go, oh, can we get it fixed? They go, okay, so why has this actually happened? What could we do about it? What can we do to fix it? So employees at the bottom of the hierarchy have to be given some control over decision making. So absolutely everybody has got some choice in here. And they are there then to allowed to actually make those choices and see whether they can be helped. So Kaizen helps workers to feel involved in quality assurance, and it is very cheap to introduce. I mean, it's just asking people, so what do you think could be done? What do you think could be done to improve quality, to improve speed, to improve the product? The downside, however, is that as it makes small changes over time, it might not be great for a business that urgently needs to improve its quality. So if say your business has had a new competitor come on the market, then just using the Kaizen approach is very long-winded, and it could end up with because they're just making these small changes, you're not going to stay competitive if they're producing a better quality item. So you may need to look at other methods as well, but it is very good for long-term planning. So how do you evaluate actual quality improvement? So potential changes are things like culture may need to be changed, which can be very difficult. So if you're changing your employees from just using inspectors to actually changing their own work, then it could take a while because they're just used to being told what to do. Now they're being given a lot more freedom, and they might not really respond to it that well. So poor quality is likely to be the result of multiple issues as well. It's not going to just be one thing that you can change. And then potentially there's a high cost because you've got training, you've got to develop new processes, new information systems, new computer systems, etc. And then on your evaluation though, can a business afford not to address poor quality? Can it really? If you've got poor quality, have a look at it. Are you still going to be able to produce a lot of goods? A lot of the Chinese goods that are coming out at the minute are very poor quality, but they're still selling. And then quality is hard to improve in short term because your products are already out there. So you've got to think about, well, what kind of culture changes, etc., that we need to do. And then your competitors don't stand still. If they're producing good quality, they're going to keep producing it. They're going to do something a little bit more. Right, okay, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe channel. I know that these videos have come very short and very fast. I will try and make any improvements where I need to. So turn on your notifications, and video number 7, which is the final video in Unit 3.4, will follow in a week or so.